Gaurav, thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure to speak to you. Before we start talking about the market, can you tell us a little bit more about Nuvama for those that are not familiar with your organization?
Sure. Nuvama is a financial services group. We kind of encompass wealth management, asset management, and capital market, along with a lot of other financial services. The fund that I represent is a JV between Nuvama as well as Cushman and Wakefield, which is a global real estate player, and we are targeting a lot of offices from this.
We have seen the occupancy in offices in the US and Europe dropping because of the working from home trend, which is probably not a trend, but more a new reality. Things in India are a little bit different, right? Can you tell us how do you see the market in terms of the numbers, the level of the tenants' behavior here? Is it very different from those markets?
It is. It truly is. So from an offices perspective, if you really see, offices are infrastructure that houses the whole services economy that we have in the country, which is about 55% of the GDP right now, right? And over the years, over the last 15, 20 years, we've seen a secular growth in this office asset class, and that has continued through the COVID crisis, including the work from home element and all that. Fundamentally, that growth is driven by very inherent moats that we as an economy have. We have a very low average age of population, about 28 years. We have one of the highest STEM graduates in the world. These are English-speaking STEM graduates, which are available at very competitive cost, right? So there are long-term moats which are aiding this office growth in India, which is very different from a lot of the other countries that you see. And today, across India, we are sitting at about 85-86% occupancy levels, and for high-grade assets, those are 95% plus. So we are really different as far as offices are concerned compared to the rest of the world. This is where office of the future is being built.
And do you see any difference in terms of what kind of offices are being developed now? Do you see, even though people here in India are still going to the office and is not the same, I agree with you, but do you see a different profile of the tenants or the products that you invest? Do you see any difference for the end user perspective?
Yeah, there is a tremendous difference between what we call the pre-COVID product and the post-COVID office product. Offices that were designed and developed post the COVID crisis. You typically see a lot of amenities. So you typically have a concept of attracting the employees to work, of the employees earning their commute, right? So you typically see a lot of F&B facilities, a creche, gym, a lot of infrastructure, social infrastructure around the employee more than the tenant who's actually paying the rentals, right? You see a lot of flexibility in terms of floor plates. So if you have to convert partial space to a co-working play, partial space to hybrid working, and you need more meeting rooms, less meeting rooms, you have floor plates that are extremely flexible in a lot of those aspects. And lastly, from a sustainability perspective, and that's extremely heartening for someone like us to note, if you see over the last quarter, about 75% of the buildings that are delivered are LEED green rated, right, or IGBC green rated, which is compared to a 50-odd% national average. So increasingly, whether it is sustainability, whether it is design, whether it is amenities, we are seeing much better products come in, and these offices are comparable to the best in the world.
It's interesting. I think people are more willing to come to the office, not just to be quiet, but to concentrate on sharing their experiences and learning from each other, right?
Right. Then, and increasingly, global corporates are committing to India and to these kind of offices. It's extremely heartening.
A final question. You are active in many cities here in India, and every time that specific asset class is performing well, there's a tendency for oversupply. Do you see that as a risk on the horizon in any of the locations that you are active?
In a few locations, I think there is some amount of oversupply pressures, but and I've seen this journey over the last 16 years, it's significantly lower than what it used to be. Mm-hmm. And the primary reason that it's very low is because a lot of consolidation has already happened in the industry. So the players that are surviving today, and that is true even for residential, right? The players that are putting out capacity today in offices or in any other part are players who've gone through the down cycle, who've had their learnings, and they're putting out capacity in a very scaled manner and not kind of flooding the market. So that's a clear difference that we see compared to the other cycles.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Gaurav. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good talking to you.